Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome wherever you are in the world to another very special presentation by Quirk Books and The Show Must Go Online. We're now in week 3 and we are delighted to be here. I'm Robert Miles, actor, writer, director, and creator of the Shakespeare deck, and this week we're exploring scenes from Ian Doescher's Shakespeare's Much Ado About Mean Girls. Mean Girls is genuinely one of my favourite films, and that means tonight's show is thanks to 2 of my favourite writers and 1 of my favourite directors, but more on those later. If this is your first time seeing a Show Must Go Online presentation, our self-isolated actors around the world collaborate from their living rooms using their ingenuity, resourcefulness, and found items to bring to life the complete works of Shakespeare every Wednesday at 7 p.m. BST or 2 p.m. EDT over at youtube.com/Rob Miles. Whether you're a Shakespeare fan or you've never seen Shakespeare before, we'd love for you to join us this week for Richard II. This show will last for approximately 40 minutes, after which we will introduce you to the cast and crew, followed by a 20-minute Q&A with the author himself, Ian Doescher. If you enjoy what you see tonight, please feel free to visit the quirkbooks.biz website, where you can buy Ian's books, and they will give 30% of the profits to those books to The Show Must Go Online throughout the month of May. So please make sure that you get yourself a copy of Much Ado About Mean Girls. I can't recommend it enough. It's fabulous. For tonight's show, please capture your reactions using the hashtags Pop Shakespeare Live and Show Must Go Online, and be sure to follow TSMG Online Live and Quirk Books at Quirk Books. At this time, to introduce our special presentation, it's my pleasure to welcome the author himself, Ian Doescher. Ian Doescher is the best-selling author of the William Shakespeare's Star Wars series, the Pop Shakespeare series, and other books combining Shakespeare and pop culture. He holds a bachelor's degree from Yale University, a master's degree from Yale Divinity School, and a PhD from Union Theological Seminary. Ian lives in Portland, Oregon with his spouse Jennifer, his children, and his dog Thorfinn. Excellent name. William Shakespeare's The Taming of the Clueless is his 12th book, all published with Quirk Books. Ian, it's a pleasure to have you on the show once again to introduce your work. Really looking forward to this. The play, as you know, is Much Ado About Mean Girls, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Rob. So during rehearsal yesterday, Emily Ingram, our wonderful director today, very kindly said that I was wise to notice the Shakespearean quality of Mean Girls and write an adaptation of it. And I wish I could truthfully claim the credit she was trying to give me. However, it's more complicated than that. Last year, on April 23rd, 2019, Quirk Books and I introduced the Pop Shakespeare series. After 6 years of Shakespeare Star Wars books, it was time to move on to other movies. Quirk, in their wisdom, wanted to put out 2 books at once, adaptations of movies that might normally draw from slightly different audiences. We'd already planned for Back to the Future, which you can tune in for next week, and Quirk asked if I would be interested in writing an adaptation of Mean Girls, too. So it was their idea. I'd only seen Tina Fey's classic once, but I loved it and happily agreed. The story of Katie, her friends, and her frenemies is, as Emily correctly noted, fitting material for a Shakespearean treatment. It's the story of how relationships are broken by misunderstanding and repaired by circumstance and humility. In my original afterword for the book, I wrote that William Shakespeare's female characters were never as strong as those of Tina Fey's creation. I'm revisiting Shakespeare's works this year, reading them with the Shakespeare 2020 project, and in that process, I'm being reminded of so many remarkable female characters in Shakespeare. So I officially take back that comment from my afterword, but will say instead that Tina Fey's cast of female characters is appropriately Shakespearean. Probably my biggest challenge in this adaptation is that the movie Mean Girls jumps freely from scene to scene, often in short clips that make a joke or emphasize a point, like students or other characters interrupting a scene for a one-liner before the action continues. On Shakespeare's stage, such quick flashes would have been almost unknown. So what I had decided is that characters would enter and exit the balcony very quickly, and brief cinematic scenes spanning multiple days and locations would be tied together into a single theatrical scene. For example, in Act 3, Scene 2, Damien finds the Caltine bars in Katie's satchel that he had just pretended to steal, whereas the movie switches to a separate scene in Katie's home. The final scenes of the film alternate frequently between the mathlete competition and spring fling, and I just put those in 2 distinct scenes. And finally, because Katie's voice so often narrates the film, in my adaptation she has far more asides than most normal Shakespearean characters would. Much Ado About Mean Girls was my first Shakespearean adaptation, not in the action sci-fi genre, and also my first adaptation of a story centered around the lives of women. So I decided to try something I'd never done before. Instead of my usual practice of including Shakespearean references whenever and wherever they occurred to me, I paired each female character in Mean Girls with a Shakespearean counterpart. In other words, each Shakespearean reference the women use in Mean Girls is taken from a specific Shakespearean character. Here's how they pair up. Katie is Miranda from The Tempest. Miranda is an ingenue who has lived most of her life secluded with her father in a remote wilderness, not unlike Katie. Janice is Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing. Beatrice has a caustic, biting wit and a fierce loyalty to her friends, just like Janice. Regina is Kate in Taming of the Shrew. Kate starts off the play as a harsh woman with a sharp tongue. Who else was Regina going to be? Gretchen is Viola from Twelfth Night. Viola, dressing as a man, serves as a constant go-between and wears a different face with each character. Karen is Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. Juliet is the youngest of Shakespeare's heroines. She's innocent and hopeful. Mrs. Heron, Katie's mom, borrows lines from Cleopatra in Antony and Cleopatra. Cleopatra is the regal, intelligent woman who has, of course, come from Africa. Mrs. George, Regina's mom, takes her Shakespearean references from Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth is, of course, one of Shakespeare's cruelest, most cunning villains. Of course, that's unfair completely to Amy Poehler's portrayal of Mrs. George, which is nothing but positive and fun. My justification when I wrote the book was that anyone who could raise Regina must be a piece of work herself. Finally, Ms. Norbury, Katie's teacher and mentor, is Titania from A Midsummer Night's Dream. There's little textual connection here. I just love Tina Fey so much that I thought, who else could represent her except a majestic fairy queen? In today's reading, you might notice a few Easter eggs. For example, I challenged the Gilbert and Sullivan fans who are participating today to find the 2 lines from the Pirates of Penzance in today's scenes. I also added an Easter egg toward the beginning of every scene, and you'll hear a couple of these today. As I said, because this was my first movie that I adapted that revolved around the lives of women, I decided to hide references to American women's history throughout the text, from the Seneca Falls Women's Right Convention in 1848 all the way to the Me Too movement. Here's how to find these references. In the first line Katie speaks in any scene, the final word of each of her lines of iambic pentameter is the reference. Here's one you'll hear today. Regina hath ta'en Aaron back e'en now, then showed what perfect kisses they have formed. The final words of these 2 lines are now and formed. This is a reference to 1966, when NOW, the National Organization for Women, was formed. If you ever get your hands on a copy of the book, you can find references to Americans' women's history in each of the 20 scenes of the play. Okay, that's enough for me. Let's get on with the show. Thank you so much to Emily Ingram for her directorial prowess today. Thank you to this totally fetch cast. Thank you to The Show Must Go Online, and thank you all for joining us today. And now it's time for Much Ado About Mean Girls.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Ian. That was absolutely fascinating. I love those parallels between the characters, and I'm actually going to go over my copy again now to look for those Easter eggs. That sounds brilliant. Shout out to Tina Fey as well, one of my absolute idols for writing. Amazing work. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin. So please remember to capture your reactions on social using the hashtags ShowMustGoOnline and Pop Shakespeare Live. And without further ado, please enjoy a selection of scenes from Ian Doescher's Shakespeare's Taming of the Clueless.
Act 1, Scene 2, North Shore High School cafeteria. Enter Regina, Gretchen, Karen, Janice, Damien, and Katie.
Wilt thou sit here with us? We have the space. We would have discourse with thee, newfound friend.
What shall I do when faced with this request? Aside, I see sweet Janice motioning as if to say, what madness comes o'er thee? Wilt thou be seated with our enemies? Yet should I not these women grant a chance, an opportunity before I judge them utterly unworthy of my time? They may in some way be misunderstood and not the wanton hags described by Janice. I'll test the plastic's character myself.
Now tell me, wherefore do I know thee not?
Unto the schoolhouse am I newly come. My family and I arrived from Afric, where I was brought up lo these many years.
From Afric, didst thou say?
Such was my word. My parents was I homeschooled ere this year.
The words thou speakest, stranger, still become.
My mother was a schoolmarm unto me.
Nay, to be homeschooled is nothing new. I know the term, I am not daft nor dumb. What doth perplex is this? Hast thou ne'er been a student at a real school heretofore? Shut up thy mouth whilst I exclaim. Shut it!
I did not speak.
A homeschool student, eh? Oh, 'tis fascinating, verily.
My thanks.
Yet still thou dost possess a beauty rare. Young, budding virgin, fair and fresh and sweet. Happy the parents of so fair a child. Happier the man whom favorable stars allot thee for his lovely bedfellow.
Again, my thanks.
Thou dost agree with all?
What?
Thou thinkest also thou art beautiful?
I tell thee honestly that such to know did never meddle with my simple thoughts.
By all that is divine, behold thy bracelet. A stunning piece of jewelry it is. How didst thou come by such a lovely thing?
My mother fashioned it and gave it me.
'Tis worthy of the public's admiration.
So fetch it is, it fetcheth every glance.
What is this fetch? And pray, whence cometh it?
A word come swimming across the ocean blue, from England's ruddy shores. Knowst thou this country?
If thou hast come from Afric, why art white?
Nay, Karen, by the gods, thou canst not ask a person wherefore she or he is white.
Couldst thou, in kindness, give us privacy wherein we three shall speak a moment, Katie?
Of course. How like three parrots they do seem, ere chattering with naught of substance said. Poor Janice yonder, next to Damien, doth signal as to ask what I have done.
Before I speak, know this. We are not wont to do the thing we're bound to do herein. This is important. We would have thee know.
We kindly bid thee, wilt thou dine with us each day through the remainder of the week?
While this is kind, I have two friends.
Yes, well, no further conversation shall we have, but we'll expect to see thee on the morrow.
On Wednesdays, we array ourselves in pink.
Exeunt. Act 1, Scene 3, at North Shore High School. Enter Katie Heron, Regina George, Gretchen Wieners, and Karen Smith, seated together at the lunch table. They each don pink attire.
Plastics, regal as Elizabeth, do frighten me, like dark and dreadful wood, with rules that hide beyond each rolling hill.
I will believe thou hast a mind that suits with this thy fair and outward character. Remember this, no tank top shall be worn from one day to the next, 2 in a row. And neither shalt thou wear a pony's tail as thy hairstyle, excepting once per week. It seemeth thou hast chosen thus today.
No natural world is this, but some girl world.
We also weareth pantaloons for track or jeans on Fridays only, as if we were Catholic and they are fish to eat. Break thou our rules and that will not sit with all. 'Tis not just thee, 'tis law for anyone. If I were wearing denim jeans today, it'd be like I would be sitting with the freaks who draw upon their artboards all the day. We take a vote before we shall allow another soul to eat their lunch with us. This is consideration for the group, pursuing constantly the greater good. Thou wouldst not purchase garments from a shop if thou didst ask thy precious friends to share their thoughts on thine appearance.
Would I not?
Exactly. 'Tis the same rule for the lads. Thou mayest believe thou art enamored of a man, yet find thyself mistaken. See?
120 calories in all, and 48 from fat. Oh, 'tis what percent?
48 into 120.
The foods I eat from now shall have no more than 30 calories composed of fat.
'Tis 40, verily, a plain equation. If 48 is o'er 120, it equals x above 100, yes? Cross multiply to solve for x. 'Tis 40.
Where did you study all this goodly speech? It is no matter. I shall dine on cheese fries.
Hast thou met any lads whose look thou likest?
Person in my studies, calculus.
Who is the man?
I'll wager 'tis a senior.
His name is Aaron Samuels.
Nay, beware.
Alas, the lad is not for thee, I fear. Thou canst not be the budding paramour of Aaron Samuels, anyone but he. He once was boyfriend unto our Regina.
'Twas 1 whole year the two did fondly court.
Poor lady, she were better love a dream. She devastated was when he did end. Last summer, the relationship they had.
Methought she for shame omen sent him hence.
Yet, regardless of the situation, ex-boyfriends are but closed, forbidden books for friends to borrow from each other's shelves. These are but feminism rules and mores. Fear not, though, Katie. This I promise thee, ne'er shall Regina hear what thou hast said. I'll keep the secret locked within my head.
Exeunt. Act 2, Scene 5. At the Ian residence, and in the next days and weeks at North Shore High School. Enter Janice, Ian, and Damien watching a horror film.
A friend to watch a scary movie with, whilst all around us people celebrate All Hallows Eve with fear and horrid masks. The perfect night, as Damien and I sit here as merry as the day is long.
Alas! The zombie from the film doth live!
Regina has ta'en Aaron back e'en now, and showed what perfect kisses they have formed.
Poor Caddy.
Wherefore would she take him back?
The lady is a ruiner of lives. 'Tis what she doth, a calling she doth follow.
When we were but 13, she forced our class to sign a false petition to declare that our fair Janice was none other than...
Nay, Damien, speak not. The vixen shall forbidden be to ply her villainy. Is she not proven in the height a villain that slandered, scorned, dishonored my kinswoman? We must take action.
Must we?
Follow on. Regina George, an evil dictator, how doth a state o'erthrow such tyranny? Cut off her plentiful resources, yea. Regina would be naught without her men, each one high status, handsome in the height. We shall her Aaron welcome to our side. Her body, technically a perfect thing, shall soon become a liability. Her band of loyal, skanky followers anon shall turn to fervent enemies. Good Caddy, if thou wouldst this future see, thou must approach them in the guise of friendship, like nothing were awry twixt her and thee. Canst thou accomplish this? Art strong enough?
I shall, to take my justified revenge.
Let us then turn the hag's world upside down.
Oh,
Pretending naught is wrong shall simple be, for no one doth enjoy continued conflict.
Kind Katie, it is well to find thee here. Regina asked me to convey to thee that she attempted to connect ye two, in Aaron and thyself, yet his sole aim was with Regina to be reconciled. 'Tis no fault of Regina's, thou canst see?
Of course not, nay.
Oh, thou then dost hold no grudge.
By heaven, no.
Oh, hurrah for friendship's glow! Regina asked me to deliver you this.
My weight shall be improved by this plan. The South Beach Fat Flush, wherein I shall drink the juice of cranberries for 3 whole days.
Thou drinkest not the juice of cranberries, 'tis cocktail cranberry, near holy sugar.
But 3 pounds more to lose, and I may rest.
Absurd.
Thy hair, why is it so? Yet push it back. And thou, like Samson, shall have hair to tempt Delilahs everywhere. Ah, Katie, canst thou tell sweet Aaron, dear, his hair is sexier when 'tis pushed back?
Oh, how she dangleth him before mine eyes, as if he were a morsel, I a dog. If 'twere the world of animals I knew, I'd jump at her and knock her from her seat, whilst baring claws and teeth to work her woe. The other animals would then surround us, yelling fervently as we did rage. How do I long to bring such anger forth? Yet cannot, for sake of decency. 'Tis girl world, not the world of animals. In girl world, every fight must be concealed. Thy hair doth look sexy when 'tis pushed back.
Betwixt these two, a lad could be too loved.
Ugh. The juice of cranberries, my skinned up blemish. Ooh.
I have a skin cream that may help thy plight. I have secured foot cream from Janus' shop to give it to Regina for her face. Whenever opportunity ariseth, we shall ply sabotage to make her squirm. This is for thee, to help thy visage glow.
I have returned to thee, small Chuck. Mwah. Thy face doth smell of sweet as peppermint.
Alas, 'twas not the scent I did intend.
Impeccable revenge must tailored be unto the villain who hath done the wrong, and thus I've taken liberties with scissors, amending horrible Regina's tunic. 2 holes I've opened where her breasts would go, to make her foolish to the multitudes.
Though this is not the fashion, I shall wear it, head lifted high for all the world to see, whilst confidently I do strut the halls. Whoever plied this silly trick on me shall find themselves upset by their own trick. And I, the meanwhile, shall not rest nor sleep till I can find occasion of revenge.
What universe illogical is this? Hath vile Regina so convinced the minds of these, my fellow students, that they follow her every movement and 'twere holy writ? Is there no sense remaining at this school? This shall not stop my pains, but urge them on. This possible disdain should die while she hath such meat food to feed it as Regina.
Ho, ho, ho! Candygrams for all and each.
Be swift, I bid thee, learning is afoot.
Behold, I've 2 for Taylor Zimmerman. And 4 for Glen Coco. Thou art well liked. And Caddy Heron, is she in this class?
'Tis Katie.
Ah, Katie, 1 for thee have I. And none for Guitronino's, verily.
Methought I should receive one if thou didst. Who is it from?
Mine utmost thanks that thou art such a dear friend unto me, Regina. 'Tis sweet of her to think of me so kindly. Oh.
Now back to Caesar and his fall from grace.
I'll warrant now that Gretchen doth believe Regina's ire is focused onto her. The secret shall pour forth as water from an ocean filled with tears. Now must I wait. The board is set. The pieces are arranged, and Gretchen is the knight unto my queen. The perfect secret shall she share anon, and when she doth, Regina is my pawn.
Exeunt. Act 3, Scene 5. At North Shore High School over several days the following week. Enter Katie and Norbury.
extra credit I may somehow earn, pray tell me, and it shall be done anon.
Indeed I shall. Thou hast my solemn word.
What words had Madame Norbury for thee? For we did watch thee speak to her at length.
Well, I do despise the woman utterly. She plans to grade me low, whate'er I do, because I did not join her mathlete crew. The lady was quite queer in the exchange. I am a pusher, Katie, she did say. I am a pusher, utterly.
What doth it mean that she a pusher is?
Perhaps like one who pusheth drugs. Is it so?
Be like 'tis, Gretchen, yea, most probably, for she declareth she worketh at 3 jobs. 'Tis probable she selleth drugs to students to supplement her meager teaching wages and pay for her pathetic, sad divorce.
Then every thought and feeling thou canst write. Put it inside the book and free thy soul.
It seemeth I become a heartless hag, yet 'tis an act, a role I play, no more. 'Tis merely a pretense of a heartless hag, although I write herein, pray judge me not. My thanks, kind friends. Farewell into the next.
Hola, kind caddy. I have searched for thee. Last night I called on thee, thou answered not. Say wherefore didst thou not return the call?
Too busy was I, past all thought or measure.
As sure as I have a thought or a soul, methought thou wouldst respond when I did call. No matter though. Wilt thou require a ride unto my art show when the weekend comes?
Alas, my time is to my parents sworn, with whom I must to Madison be ta'en. Apologies, I long to see thy show.
The quick excuse rings hollow and unkind. 'Twould have been gentler simply to refuse.
What of tonight? Wilt watch a film withal?
Nay, not this even. Major sabotage of plastics shall I undertake tonight.
How canst thou ply this sabotage sans us? Are we not thy companions in the cause? Wilt thou desert thy friends so utterly? We had tonight planned nothing in our schemes.
Here I fly solo, like a pilot rogue. This plan is mine, and shall be mine alone. Oh, farewell. Go with my heartfelt love, kind friends.
Am I deceived, or does this strange goodbye speak utterly of rank Regina's scent? Hath Katie's fake plasticity turned real? Is she condemned to be plastic's next?
Whate'er this doth portend, all is not well. Shall we too lose a friend so newly won?
Regina, thou shalt hear what did befall. Our Gretchen doth believe thou art upset, because she hath been nominated for the Queen of Fling of Spring, which else is thine?
Me angry, Katie? Nay, it ne'er could be. Concerned am I for her well-being only. Methinks her nomination is a jest, some ruthless trick plied by a jealous fiend. When no one votes for her, it would be best put finger in the eye, and she know why. She shalt melt down and reckless shall become. Who then shall care for her? It shall be me. Employment in this field appealeth not.
Thou dost not think she'll garner e'en one vote?
The truth is, Katie, Gretchen is not fair. Why then should any vote for her as queen?
you at once.
Is butter such as may be called a carb?
Indeed. Eat thou each stick upon the earth.
Regina, thou in sweatpants art arrayed. 'Tis Monday.
And
Thou hast transgressed our rules and art not welcome to be seated here.
what error? The rules ye broadcast are not real, but are like morning fog that dissipates when light of day doth break upon the ether.
Thou called them true when I did wear a vest.
A vest that was disgusting to mine eyes.
Thou mayst not, shalt not, canst not, sit withal.
These sweatpants are the only garments that will fit the fuller body I have bred. Humiliating revelation this, yet still they are not moved to show compassion. I'm yelling shall depart, and ye shall have it so. Walk home, you wenches, I shall drive thee not.
Oh, watch where thou goest, oafish lump of fat.
What shall we do this weekend?
Tell us what.
Alas, my time is to my parents sworn, with whom I must to Madison be ta'en.
What? Do not leave us. We are lost, sans thee.
They purchased tickets to some grand event.
What, Katie? Shalt thou leave us all alone, the sole remaining prop of our young age?
See how they do follow me like wayward sheep. Have I become the new queen bee to them, and they my workers who would do my will? Have I my stinger honed and formed this hive? Perchance I can escape mine obligation?
Oh, do, for our sake.
Take our many thanks.
Be well, kind Katie, till we meet again.
Exeunt. Act 4, Scene 1. The Heron residence. Enter Katie, Damien, and Janice riding.
My pink tunic thou must return to me.
Yeah.
Her portrait doth convict, and 'twere a judge. Herein I see we three most happy friends. Myself, kind Janice, we with Damien, as if we were three tight-knit musketeers, inseparable as the Trinity. Oh, how I have behaved or misbehaved. The friendship they did freely proffer me, I have returned at best derisively. Have I become the evil I deplore? Forgive me, friends, I yet shall make this right.
I prithee calm thyself, be thou not so fierce.
How existeth anyone I still may trust?
Why dost thou a Caltine bois, Regina?
My stomach feeleth famished, verily. To be betrayed is hungry work, indeed.
Bois are most despicable to me. Coach Call gives them to us when he desires that we increase our weight class for the team.
What did so say?
They swiftly boost one's weight and add onto one's girth. Perchance to eat pure fat were better work, yet not by much.
Fie, oh monstrous common kissing whelp! Oh, that artless, lumpish, motley-minded flirt gill. What? Will none suffer me? Nay, now I see she is the treasure. She must have a boyfriend. I must dance barefoot on her wedding day, and for her sake to her lead apes in hell. Where is the burn book I have lately scorned? It shall fulfill my purpose presently. Revenge shall be most swift and terrible. The entire world shall know how rank she is. Let it be writ. This girl's a skanky whore, the nastiest whom ever I have met. Trust her nowise, she fugly is forsooth. These words, however, I pen not of her, but place my picture underneath the words. Thus shall the book become a Katie share, wherewith I'll ruin her beyond repair.
Exit Regina. Act 4, Scene 3. In the North Shore High School gymnasium. Enter Katie, Regina, Norbury, Damien, Janice, and students.
In friendship have I failed
She
thee,
doth not even
kind
go here.
I bid ye, raise your hand if e'er alas spake gossip rank of ye behind your
Whoever
back.
wrote the book declared that I did lie about my maidenhead.
Ne'er should have called thee a gap-toothed wench.
Would that we could be friends, as we have been back once upon a time.
Because I
middle
utilized
school.
the tampons jumbo-sized. 'Tis not my fault that I have heavy flow, withal a large white set vagina too.
Would that I could create a luscious cake whose recipe doth call for smiles and rainbows which we would
withal a
feast
large
upon.
white set vagina
Happy
too.
Gina, wait! I bid thee stop and hear. I did not wish upon thee this event.
To hear the school entire to hate me, eh? I do not care.
Regina, prithee.
Nay! Knowest thou what all do say about thee, Katie? They say thou art a homeschooled jungle freak, who is a less fair version of myself. Try not to act completely innocent. Instead, take thine apology absurd and shove it in thy hairy, hideous
Oh, fate, have you been watching over us? Hath justice been delivered by a bus?
Exeunt. Act 5, Scene 3. At North Shore High School. Enter Katie.
Our tale concludeth for the present moment. Yet, ere we go, we'll tell the future of the characters ye witnessed in our play. The plastics were disbanded, happily, a mercy for the school and for each one. Regina's spine did heal from tip to tip. Her therapist helped her to channel rage by playing contact sports with eager well. 'Twas perfect, for the jock girls loved her so, were not afeard of her great vehemence. Girl world hath found peace within itself. And though the junior plastics did arrive, repeating the mistakes we once did make, a solid bus careening through the street shall set them in their place most ardently. Nay, 'tis not so. I purely am in jest. Although the world like tempest round us whirls, we dwell in peace, no more to be mean girls.
And ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Much ado about Mean Girls. Come on in, everybody. Give yourselves a massive round of applause. Amazing work. Amazing work. Congratulations. Congratulations. Fantastic stuff. So, audience members, please start sending in your questions for the Q&A, which is going to start in just a couple of minutes' time. But first, I want to introduce you to our cast and crew, starting as always with our incredible producer, Sarah Peachy.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm an actor and innovation project manager based in Glasgow.
And a wonderful Mrs. Norbury she was. And for the first time on the show, please welcome the director for tonight's performance. In addition to some fantastic prop work as always, it's Emily Ingram.
Hi, my name's Emily. I am an Edinburgh-based director, writer and stage manager.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'd like to give thanks, of course, to our movement director, Enrico Tunio, for some fantastic animal work in this show. And finally, sound from Adam Woodhams.
Hi, I'm Adam Woodhams, sound designer based in the south of England.
Amazing, amazing. So our casting director, Sydney Aldridge, has put together the actors for tonight's performance, introducing as Katie, Eleanor Shannon. As Regina, Sarah Himes.
Hey.
As Gretchen, Gina Atkinson. As Karen, Nicole Miners.
Hello.
As Janice, Mariana Clark.
Hi.
As Damien, Ad Tamimi.
Run.
As English, Harry Brierley.
Sweetest peppermint.
And as our wonderful swing for this evening, Katie Forster.
Hi.
Wonderful. And finally, just to reintroduce the man himself, it's Ian Doescher. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much. Amazing piece of work there. Absolutely loved those excerpts and really excited to see what we get next week for Back to the Future. I've also got a slight correction, got to admonish myself here. I introduced this as Taming of the Clueless. It's very much not. That was last week. But if you haven't seen it, it is available to stream on the Quirk Books YouTube channel whenever you want. So please go and check that out. It is every bit as fun and vibrant and ebullient as this is. So I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time watching that. And Star Wars as well, our kind of sci-fi special that we opened with. And do tune in, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and make sure that you hit the bell to receive updates so that you can find out about Back to the Future as well. I believe there's a ticket link in the description of this video, so head to the description right now and get your tickets for Back to the Future. Super excited about that. So hopefully we should have some questions coming through any minute. But for now, Sarah, yeah, have you got some?
No, I was going to say we've still got lovely rounds of applause coming through at the moment.
Oh, amazing. The audience are too enthused by your performances to think straight. Can't think of what they might want to ask you. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. It came as a surprise to Ian, so it may come as a surprise to some of you that actually many of our actors are not American. So can we get a quick shout out of where each of you are from, please? That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
I'm from Northern Ireland. I'm from just outside Belfast.
Amazing.
I'm
Anyone
from
else?
Basically Newcastle, so I'm a Geordie, way I.
Amazing.
Southeast London, so Sidcup, that end.
I am from near Edinburgh.
I'm from Ireland and the UK, where I am currently isolating.
I am originally... Oh.
We were doing so well. Let's go Nicole first, then Sarah.
I'm originally from Hong Kong, but I'm currently based in London.
Wonderful.
I'm originally from Ohio, but am based now in Brooklyn, New York.
And
Amazing.
I'm from Iceland, and I'm currently here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I've got a couple of questions starting to come through now. First of all, it's an interesting one. What inspired each actor to do something like this?
I'll go. No, Ad, you first, my man.
Yeah, go on, Ad.
Go on.
I have been a massive fan of Mean Girls since it came out. And as soon as I found out that because I've done 2 shows with Show Must Go Online before, as soon as I found out that they were doing this, I was just like, oh, please, let me do this. Because not only do I love the film, I also had the wonderful opportunity to go see the musical on Broadway. And that just made it even better. And so I am very, very proud and very, very happy to have been able to portray Damien. So yeah, this is kind of a teenage dream come true for me. So yeah, quite happy.
I think that's the same for all of us. I think we've all sort of grown up with it. So it's been something that we'd always fall back on, or we'd quote it in school or to our friends or things like that, which is why it was so nice in doing it in this different style. And it was, yeah, it made it a lot more fun.
Yeah, I found
Also,
myself found myself having flashbacks to school during the rehearsal process, like all the familiar lines coming up. I was like, I'm back there again. Angsty teenager.
I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but as soon as I saw that the show Must Go Online was a thing and they were doing shows on Zoom online, I was like, get me on it. And I basically hounded them in every single way that they were doing it, and it was like, let me be in one. And then when this one came through, I was like, I have hit the blimmin' jackpot. Got to be in the best one, Mean Girls, as Katie. Like, come on, is that more of a dream? My family have been wanting to kill me because I'm running around the house going, I'm trying to make pink things. Ah!
Brilliant. I just want to point out that Eleanor is not kidding. She did write a minor essay in order to apply for the parts, which was wonderful because everything in there was pertinent. So we're like, well, you know what? It's a solid argument, and what an incredible job you did, mate. It was a fantastic performance. Really, really well done. Really enjoyed it. We've got a question here for Emily. Is this you getting on track to steal Show Must Go Online from Rob?
Well, we did have a moment a few weeks ago during Titus Andronicus where Rob's internet connection completely, just completely went to pieces, and I did have to step through. And at the time, I did say, "Well, this is where the reign of terror begins. This is where I take over." So, honestly, all bets are off at this point.
Absolutely, the blood is in the water. I love it. I love it. We've got a good question here from Clive. How did you do the echoing voices and the book? So that's one for Adam first of all, and then Emily.
Oh, hello. That's a well-established The Show Must Go Online technique where all the actors send me snippets of recordings. So I wake up with a full inbox on generally Monday morning and sort of patch them together and stick some reverb on them, and yeah, that's about it, really.
Amazing. And the book?
The burn book or the
Forever Turning book, I assume. Yeah.
Oh, so that was done using a mixture of several different free image editing programs. I got a picture of an American high school gymnasium and made that look kind of parchment effect. And then I got a GIF from the very free online image editing site Canva, and I mashed them together. I wish it was a more artistically deep process, but it was free image software, and just kind of working out what looks best and using all of those to create it.
Absolutely, love it. No, so much of what we do is about just raw imagination and the minimum amount of work possible, because we don't have the time to kind of go with super advanced solutions. But what I love about it is how consistently they turn up for the good. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
I've got a couple.
Oh yeah, go Sarah.
Yeah. So how many ideas? So it's one for Ian. Someone has asked, what was the Gilbert and Sullivan reference?
Oh, can I remember now? There's a line about, oh boy, put me back on the spot here after I challenge people to remember what they are. I'm gonna have to get back to you. I'll look at the script really fast.
I've got to say, Ian, it's a storied Show Must Go Online tradition to set up a game and then not give the answer to the game on the stream. So maybe check the QuickBooks Twitter or Ian Doescher's Twitter, and then you might find the answer there, which would be a wonderful one. Fantastic. Do we have any more, Sarah?
Yes. So I've got another one for Emily. So how did you approach directing this?
I actually approached it in very much the same way I would directing a standard Shakespeare play, because as Ian mentioned in his introduction, Mean Girls is very Shakespearean in the way the characters relate to one another and how they sort of scheme against each other. The voiceovers almost like asides. So I just broke it down in the same way that I would a Shakespearean text, looked at the relationships between the characters and drew myself a weird sort of conspiracy theorist map between all of them. And as a cast, we also combed through the script and we looked at moments where characters' language really fits their interest and imagination, their sort of specific interests, and sort of so for Katie, we pulled out the bits that were very mathematical and logical and to do with the natural world, and we tried to highlight those and tried to allow those characters to really shine on those moments where the language reflects what they're personally interested in.
Wonderful. And then we've got another one here, which it's an interesting question, this one, because it came as a surprise to me. So it's interesting to see if you guys had divined any of these parallels that Ian was talking about between the Shakespearean equivalents of the characters and the characters you were playing. And did you guys, A, kind of discover any of those parallels, and B, did that inform the performance, or was it very much the kind of film that was influencing it?
For me, funnily enough, we'd spoken about Janice when she's planning Regina's downfall being more of a Cassius or Iago kind of figure. Beatrice hadn't crossed my mind, but now that you say it, I'm like, oh. And then of course I was studying the film very closely, but having the more Shakespearean Cassius going through my head really helped.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think there's definite parallels, aren't there, Emily, between Mean Girls and Julius Caesar?
Absolutely. And in the film, Gretchen gets that sort of modern day translation of Cassius's most famous speech. But I think it's Janice who really echoes that character, because she does think that what she's doing is absolutely the right thing and that she's bringing justice, even as she does these really quite cruel and monstrous things. And I just think the parallel between Janice and Cassius is really interesting to dig your claws into.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sarah, do you have any more questions coming through?
Yes. So I have, what was the most fun part of putting this together? The floor.
For me,
meeting everyone. Sorry.
No, it's all right. For me personally, it was obviously everyone knows the film, everyone's watched the film, like we've said, but it was like how nuanced and specific the Shakespeare text actually turned the film from that into that, and it was like, no way, this is so fun, and yeah, very creative. I think that for me personally, that was like, because I'm very text-based the way that I work anyway, so it was like, man, this is too good. It's too good.
I'm only sad that we weren't able to be in a proper rehearsal room, because just the energy of everyone in the cast and the creative team, the enthusiasm everyone's had has just been the pure love of the text and the both original and current one now. You're sitting there going, I want to be in a room with these people because they're amazing. And if you get this feeling off Zoom, imagine what you get in a rehearsal room.
Yeah, not yet.
That actually feeds nicely into another question that we've had from our audience, which is, what was the difference rehearsing online versus in the room?
Obviously, one of the most frustrating aspects is like, no matter what you're doing, you actually want to talk to someone in real life and get their energy back and actually receive and try and give it back to them. And it's really hard and really weird, but it's a very good experience to do, to actually be like, you know, we're in a weird time right now, so the best you can do is this. So for me personally, it was just that what Eleanor was saying is the energy you get from people is just, it's kind of a little bit dead. So therefore you have to give more, and also just use your imagination a bit more to be like, that's probably what they were giving me in real life. Do you know what I mean? But fun.
It's also
no, you don't get sort of the water cooler chats, like when you're on a 5 or when you're on a 10 and you go grab the same thing from the vending machine, and then you get to be friends about that, and then you get to maybe talk about going out for a drink afterwards, or you know what I mean? Like you sort of build camaraderie and trust in the in-between sometimes in rehearsal, not just the energy in a scene. And so to miss that was a little bit funky. I mean, I think we all did a pretty great job at just chiming in and being chipper and saying hi in the morning and getting in the chat and being supportive. But that's definitely something that I missed, and I look forward to when we work again together in a different iteration of this.
Bless Sarah as well, because she's obviously American, so we're coming in for rehearsal at 2, and it's like 9 a.m. in the morning for her. And we're like, morning, how you doing?
Yeah.
9 a.m. in the morning, a famously unfriendly time for actors.
And just to jump on the rehearsal process chat a little bit more, the difference between rehearsing all in person and on Zoom really struck me. Actually, almost last thing we rehearsed today was a moment between Harry and Sarah, where we suddenly realized that actually, because we've not all been in the same room, the relationship between Erin Samuels and Regina, even though it's only seen for a tiny moment, wasn't coming across as as affectionate as it would be if we had people sort of close and we could be doing all of the, physical proximity to each other. And we had a moment where we just were playing around with Harry almost eyeballing the camera, like in quite a loving way, to sort of get across that Erin is really devoted to Regina and doesn't see, her flaws so much. And I think that's something that might have come sooner if we'd been able to have people close. But Harry and Sarah point out, oh, actually, we haven't focused on what their relationship is. We sort of brought it out. The big frustration, I think, for rehearsing on Zoom came yesterday with the big UK Zoom crash, where we suddenly went, oh, we can't use Zoom, so need to jump through to a different conferencing software, need to learn a completely new medium in the next 20 minutes. So that was something fun that we all had to deal with yesterday, but the cast dealt with it fantastically.
I was just going to say, despite all of the technical difficulties and despite all the distance and all of that, it's kind of really exciting to kind of think that this might be not necessarily, or might be possibly the future of acting, but also if it's just sort of like a little sideline. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people have little voice studios in their homes and they just record voiceovers or all those sort of things and then send them off. And imagine a future where like you just have a virtual backdrop and you just record everything from home. And it's just, that's how it's done for certain mediums that we might consume later on. So it's really exciting to kind of be the first people to take those steps with this kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think there's been some really interesting discussion in academic circles as well about the evolution of theatre. And again, it's not the future of theatre. No one's claiming it is, but I think it's part of the future of theatre because, we're finding new ways to do things that are more suited to the medium that it's been placed in. And I think that is a fascinating aspect of it. I've got a question here from Alice. How long did the edit take? I'm not sure if Nicole wants to jump in on this one, but I think, Emily, maybe you take it.
The edit of Ian's script down to these selection of scenes, I'm actually not entirely sure because we received the scenes from Quirk Books and then we said, oh, actually, we'd quite like a little bit more of Damien and a little bit more of this at the end, and so sent those requests back to them and then received the script back from them. So I can't actually answer accurately how long that took them, but if Nicole's still on the call, she might be able to give a more precise answer.
Yeah, it took longer than you would think because you want to gain all of the important, like, memorable moments from the movie, but you also have to kind of edit it down to a certain time period, length, I should say. So I think I spent like if I had to add up all my time, like probably a day. But yeah, so hopefully I did a good job. I don't know.
Did a great job, mate. Fantastic job. And so quick to respond as well with those requests. You're on it all the way through and it really made it possible. So no, thank you so much for that. It was amazing work. Amazing work. Sarah.
Yes. So, where was my other one? This was a good one. So which character is the cast and crew most like from Mean Girls?
That is Damien. He's just Damien.
Damien! I am Damien. I am Damien. Very much Damien. Damien, I love your work. So yeah, I think you should have seen me when we did the first rehearsal. I was literally just like a giddy schoolgirl the entire time because I was just like, yes, I get to be Damien. So yes, I very much am Damien.
It was so wonderful to watch you just doing that, the utter glee. It was beautiful. Anyone else?
I'll just go Janice. I'm very happy to take Janice. Certainly at that time in my life anyway, I was just like, yes.
To be fair, I'm probably a bit like Karen sometimes with the going, I could possibly fit my fist in my mouth. Just, yeah, everyone has those weird moments. I feel like I might have some more weird moments than normal people. So I think probably a bit Karen.
Very good shout. To be fair, I always feel quite akin with Norbury, Tina Fey.
I like her right now.
Yeah.
Lovely.
just, you know, she's so pragmatic and a bit stoic. She's just, everything's crumbling around her, and she's got so little energy, but she plows on. And
But
she,
Tina,
you know,
Tina Fey as a mood is a pretty great mood to have, isn't it? Like,
absolutely.
Amazing. So we've got a question here for Ian. Has anyone ever performed your plays before?
The Show Must Go Online has. No, the way that these the deal with the movie studios works is that they allow us to create these books. They work out the licensing deal with Quirk Books to publish the books, and then the movie studios own the copyright to the book, so they get to say whether or not public performances are allowed. And in general, they're not allowed. And so they've all made special allowances for these 4 performances to happen in these few weeks here. Which is also why I should point out that the voice that we heard, Nicole, who was speaking earlier, I'm going to give her, I'm going to shine more light on her than she probably really once shined on her, but she is the director of publicity and marketing at Quirk Books. And I've worked with her since my first books at Quirk, so that's several years now, and she's just wonderful. And she's making all these deals, you know, for us to allow this to happen. So really, you know, hats off to Nicole, because she's done a lot of work to make these happen. So no, in general, these are not performed a lot, and I'm so grateful that we get to do this.
Me too, man. Me too. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor all the way through. And that, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have time for. So thank you so much for your wonderful questions. I hope you've enjoyed the answers. And please do sign in again this time next week for Get the Back to the Future. And there is a ticket link in the description of this video. So go and get the link to that ticket link. I don't know what I'm even saying anymore. Go and get a ticket from the link in the description. While you're there, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you this time next week for I guess like the season finale of our like Quirk Books collaboration, really. So it's going to be super exciting times. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert, is going to be directed by Sarah Peachy. So that's going to be hugely exciting. Congratulations, Sarah. Can't wait to see what you come up with. I'm really excited for it. Thank you so much, everybody, and good night.